What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. This is DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 1, Episode 11, The Magnificent Eight. Another good episode. And just really enjoyable. My last review I talked about how upsetting it was that we had such an interesting concept. After last week's episode, at the end of it, this concept of this whole, this virus that was about to have an outbreak in a few years, now is happening in a few days. And I talked about, really, you could have done so much with that. You could have talked about that, but instead, now we're just jumping back to the Old West. It didn't make any sense at the time. But then, as I'm watching this episode, I'm like, okay, it makes sense. They explain it very well. This whole time thing is done very well. Because they need to hide from these hunters that are coming for them from the Time Masters, and this is a place where they can do that. Also, we get Jonah Hex, which is pretty cool. I've only heard about him, really. I know there was a movie, Jonah Hex. I'd never watched it, but I knew the name, so I had to look it up and found out it was actually DC property. So I was like, oh, okay, so this is interesting. But apparently Rip Hunter's already visited him before, and it was another one of those situations where he didn't want to leave, and there's a bit of a backstory there that was very well handled. So it was interesting to have him be around. The main thing, though, is just this is so much fun. Like, Palmer was, you could kind of see how he's a modern day person who very clearly loves the Old West. He seems like one of those people. Martin seemed like he could have been living back there. He looks like he may have been like an old prospector or something. If he had grown a beard and a mustache, he could have been like a mining prospector. Snart, I swear, God, he could very easily be an outlaw from those times. I mean, my goodness. The way that he handled everything. When the one guy went to shoot Martin, and he just quick draws and shoots that guy instead, and then the way he just talks to him, I'm just like, he's an outlaw. I love it. I'm actually talking to a friend of mine who, she loves the Flash and Arrow as well, and he is her favorite character for different reasons than why I like his character. But he is a very good character. And I've talked about it before, the way he talks is just so refined for a criminal that I enjoy listening to it. He does a very good job of making you think that, oh, he's not a criminal, but then when you realize he is, you're like, oh, wait a minute, what? That was confusing. But, I mean, always enjoyable, and this one in particular was a good episode for him because he got to play kind of that outlaw, that sharpshooter guy. It was fun to watch. But overall, just a really fun episode. The only thing I'm a bit disappointed in is the hunters at the end. I thought these guys were going to be, like, a big deal. But they show up in the last, 5-10 minutes after they've already taken care of the problem that this Old West town was having. The hunters show up, and then they take care of the hunters. Like that. I'm just like, so these guys were not as bad as we were thinking they were going to be. Because, you think about McRory as Kronos. He was, really dangerous. He was really taking it to him, and it was hard to get away. They couldn't stop him. He just kept coming. So, whenever he talked about these hunters, it made it sound like they were going to be worse than he was. But in the end, they stopped him fairly easily. So, I don't know. I like they're bringing in a new villain that the Time Masters have sent after him, who is going to end up going after their younger selves, trying to erase them from time. That's a brilliant idea, and I can't wait to see it because it's so ingenious to have that thrown in there. Just the way they handle the story is so well done. And I love this whole time concept anyway. But not only that, but they're going to go after family members too. I saw a shot of Captain Lance in the previews. So it's going to be very interesting to see how much an effect this has on the DC, the Arrowverse as they like to call it. I'm gonna be very excited to see how it has an effect on that overall. And if any of them are actually going to be erased from the time. Like I feel like it would be strange to do it halfway into the season because we're about halfway. We're just past half probably. So to have one of them just be erased from existence because this woman goes back in time and kills one of their younger selves, as a baby or something, or even goes back in time and kills one of their ancestors, that would be crazy and very bold move. So I'm excited to see where it's going next. It's looking really, really good. And I mean, all of this playing around with time stuff is just so well done. Sorry. So I'm excited to see where they're going from here. I'm excited to see what they have next because this week's was definitely one that I didn't expect, I didn't see coming, and I was kind of disappointed to not get a continuation of the storyline from last week. But then what I did get was enjoyable. It was fun. It was exactly what I needed. So overall, still happy about this show. Still enjoying it week after week. It's always fun to watch. They do a very good job of storytelling and giving us a different episode each week while still continuing the main story week after week after week. No other show that I can think of really does that very well. So yeah, good stuff. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If there's anything I didn't talk about, I didn't really want to rush through this, but when I started talking about it, I'm just like, talk about this and this and this, and that's all we really need. So if there's anything you wanted me to discuss more specifically, just let me know down in the comments. We can discuss it. Leave a like and subscribe for more Legends of Tomorrow, and I will see you for the next review. Peace out.